the afternoon session, Aidan Hrustic and Martin Boyle trained separately to the Socceroos main group tonight. So that's a very important conversation of Mitchell Duke, Jamie McLaren, and what happens in the number 9 role, because who plays alongside them too now comes into really strict focus, because we're not long out from the France game, and you'd have to say if they're still training separately from the group, they're not going to be in the running for that first game.
I think there's two levels here. The fact that there's basically 2 full days of training left for formation, for structure and all that kind of thing, so let's not count the day before the game, that's just an hour on the stadium pitch. They're really running out of time to be part of that formation, part of the team strategy for the game against France. So you can almost get to the point of ruling them out. The question is, how much further are those injuries going to hamper them? Now, from what I'm hearing, Aidan Hrustic should be fine, but I think Martin Boyle is struggling. That knee injury is lingering. I think it's causing him issues. They can't take the risk of carrying someone who might miss 2 games, because realistically the third game could be redundant, which would be like a tragedy. Let's use that word, I think, for Martin Boyle after he was forced out of the Asian Cup on the eve of it. You know, a bad tackle just the night before the tournament started, and he missed the Asian Cup, and now it looks increasingly like he's struggling to make the World Cup.
Well, especially because, Dave, he is a key player, particularly for that middle game against Tunisia.
Sorry, I missed who you were talking about.
You're just swept up by the atmosphere too much.
I'm here to report on the colour, boys. We're going to go chat to the fans.
You want to go jump in the mosh pit?
It's all happening.
You want to jump in the mosh pit?
We're talking about Martin Boyle.
Who doesn't care who starts in the 11?
I'm just proud to be here at a World Cup with fans.
And I would point out that he's not been drinking, because you can't.
Before we unleash you on the masses, Dave, Martin Boyle, fitness, so important for that middle game against Tunisia. But how long do you? Well, he's only got till the eve of the World Cup to be ruled in or out. How big's the risk to take?
You can clearly have a player who might not be able to play for the first game, but they need to be ready for the second game. I mean, 4 days apart, it's, you know, if there is question marks, I think you need to rule a line through him. You've got Marco Tilio here who's ready to go. He's sharp, clearly a different player, younger, inexperienced, etc. But you can't afford to be carrying a guy who may only be available for game 3. So, especially with so many other players with question marks around them. I mean, Suter spoke today. Obviously looks like he's a big chance of starting against France, but a lot of players who are underdone.
It makes for a really interesting set of numbers. Assuming that Hrustic and Boyle are both out, that means 5 A-League players and 2 overseas players in the front 7, from which Graham Arnold has got to pick a front 3 to play against France.
So let's take Boyle out of the equation. Let's put Duke into the middle, because I think that's the assumption that we're making, that's probably most likely. Who flanks him?
I think it will have to be Awer Mabil and Matthew Leckie. I don't think there's any other options. This isn't a game for Craig Goodwin to start. Goodwin's a stretcher of defences. This is a game when you're going to have to run and harry, which is what Mabil and Leckie in particular can do. I think he doesn't have any other options.
For me, it depends on the formation. So we spoke yesterday about, we're hearing that he is considering playing a back 3, which at times will be a back 5.
That was about 3 days ago, by the way.
It's all blurred into one. There you go. But if he does go with a back 3 or a back 5, that's going to change things. So whether it's Duke with, you know, someone playing as a second striker, be it Leckie, be it Riley McGree, who's maybe going to tuck in and support the midfield, that'll change things. You won't have 2 traditional wide players in that case.